Good morning, Olive, and welcome to this interview.
Good morning, Jack, and it's lovely to be here with you.
Olive, let's begin right from the very start. Where were you born and grew up?
Well, actually, I was born at Lightning Hill in Eaglehawk, Victoria, and I was born Olive Patricia Milne, my maiden name. Yes, just a nice little... And actually, Jack, we used to live in a little miner's right cottage, and Mum had just got a batch of bread out of the oven, and I decided to come along. So I was actually born at home, yes.
Terrific. And I believe that one of your first instruments that you've learned to play was the mandolin.
It was a lovely little mandolin, and it had an orange back on it, and I used to just play it, and actually I was a naughty girl because I played by ear, and my music teacher used to growl at me all the time.
How long did it take you to learn it?
Not long. Actually, I think when my father bought it for me, I basically picked it up and just played it, but then we decided we should have some lessons.
And what were your early music influences?
Early music influence, Shirley Toms, June Holmes, and if we're looking American, Patsy Cline. She was, there was quite a few that influenced me, and I try to sing a lot of their styles too. So.
Excellent. And are there any other instruments that you've learnt to play over the years?
Yes, I play guitar, which is the one I do most now, but I can also play bass guitar, and I can also sit in on the drums every now and then and bang out a good sound on the drums.
Now, in the 1950s, I'm not sure what year you'd be able to clarify that, you appeared on Dick Cranbourne's Hillbilly Show.
That's right. That would have been late 50s, and maybe slipping into the early 60s. We used to travel from here in Bendigo down to Melbourne 3DB. We'd leave here at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we'd travel down through rain, fog, whatever, just to be part of the show, and it was a wonderful time. We had Stan Stafford, Shirley Wallace, Colin Honeyman, all those wonderful singers at the time.
And what kind of songs would you have sung on that particular show?
Purely hillbilly. Yeah, we were the Hillbilly Girls, and yodeling and all that, yes.
And it's great that you brought up the yodeling. When did you start to yodel?
I think I yodeled from when I was a little girl. It was just always there.
Oh, okay.
And I used to yodel along with Shirley Toms, and it's a natural thing, I think, with me.
Now, Olive, I believe that your first recording came in about 1975.
Well, close, Jack. 76.
76.
It was a duet recording with Colin James that lives here in Bendigo, and it was called "Gentle on My Mind." And
is that particular song still available today?
Oh, look, it came out on vinyl, so we are going back a little. So we did have it lifted onto CD, and I guess if anyone really wanted it, it could be got for them, but it was a vinyl LP.
And I may be corrected on this, but your first solo album was released in 1981?
That's exactly right, and it was called Hillbilly Girl with the Blues. So that was the hillbilly coming out of me, which it had some yodeling songs on it, as well as just some nice ballads.
And through what company was that recorded through?
That was through Morning Mist out of Geelong. The first album we brought out with Colin was on W&G.
Oh, okay.
And they were really interested in us, and we thought we might have got a contract with them because we actually got it done through them. But then they went broke, didn't they? So the next one out, and I did quite a few with Morning Mist in Geelong, which was Ron and Hazel Ellis. Lovely couple, yes.
Now your first tour was around about 1981.
Yes.
And during the 80s you did tour. Who did you go on tour with?
Well, in 81 we went out on a big bus with Reg Poole, Barry Thornton, John Williams, and Patsy Rigger from New Zealand, and it was fabulous. And we had a whole busload with us as the musicians, but also a lot of people that just come along for the riders part of the show. And then in 83, I went out with Buddy Weston and his wife. We toured right up to Darwin and back. And then in 86, I went out on one of my own, but also then joined Rick and Thal Carey, which to me, that was just a wonderful 6 months with them. It was just really, really good.
I reckon, I believe it would have been.
Yeah, 89, I did another tour of my own, and also in the 90s. So I've been, around Australia lots and lots of times and been to wonderful places.
Now, your music career also become a family affair as your children also joined you on stage.
Yes, they did. We have 5 children. I must say I have a wonderful husband, Bill. 5 children. We've got 4 sons and a daughter, and they all sing and they all play music. So we've got drummers, bass players, and they all sing as well. So we slip into the harmony, and it really is lovely.
Now, you've written a few songs too. What was the first song you ever written?
My very first song was called Losing You, and it was just a bit of a love song, breaking hearts and all that. But actually, it was taken up, funnily enough, it must have been played on radio, and a prison in Melbourne wanted to use it as a feature in one of their movies. So I said, yes, go ahead, do it. Which was pretty good, I thought, But I've written many songs and had quite a lot of people record them. And also I have won quite a few competitions with my writing as well.
And I've known that you have written quite a few songs. Can you nominate one of the best songs you've ever written?
Well, the best song, now there's a question. They're all good, but I think probably the one that stands out possibly would be the one that we just won the Gospel Song of the Year in 2011. It was called Our Angels, and I actually co-wrote it with a lady. She gave me this little bits and pieces, and then I write, so we co-wrote. And it won the Gospel Song of the Year, but it was about the 2009 fires, which actually here in Bendigo came straight up our street where we live in Albert Street, Maiden Gully. It came up and just about burnt every house down in our street except ours. Wow. And our little weatherboard house, which is now 54 years old, survived. And it was just a story about that. And I think that has a lot of meaning for me, yes.
Most definitely.
Yeah, well, yes, it was quite uncanny, really.
Now, over the years, Olive, you have worked with many of our great artists.
Yes.
Can you name drop a few of them?
Name drop. Well, I said before, Reg Poole, Barry Thornton, Slim Dusty, Stan Costa. Then you're making me think now, aren't you? And I've worked with some overseas ones like Tom T. Hall, Roy Orbison, Winifred Atwell, our pianist here. So yes, I can't think of them all now. There's so many of them listed in my bio, Jack.
We'll have to post that.
Wonderful memories though, and I've working on some of the shows I've compared over the years. I've had a lot of those artists come through on stage for me to introduce them, which has been quite a highlight of my life.
Oh, it would be. And I believe that you were responsible of helping younger artists to get their start.
I have. Over the years I've nurtured them along because actually with our country music club here in Bendigo I was a vocal teacher, and I did that for 15 years, so I've seen a lot go through. But I also, Adam Harvey, I could name him, and he often does acknowledge me as being his mentor, sort of encourage him that yes, he had something way back then. He was just a shy young man, didn't have any confidence in himself. You would not know that now. And just give him that little bit of inspiration and say, yes, you can do it. And I'm really proud that I've been able to help such a lot of people, yeah. And
you bringing up Adam Harvey, it must be proud for you to see him up there winning these awards.
Oh, definitely, yeah. When you think you've just had just a little smidgen of help in there, Catherine Pitt is another girl that I actually wrote a song for her. I should say that's a monumental song too, because she was a yodeling girl just starting out at 13, and her mother rang me up and said, could I need one more song for the album. Could I write one? And I said, well, yes. And I sat down, within the day I had it, and the song is called I've Got a Yodel in My Heart, which is just about learning that you've got this yodel, let it out. And she was a final 5 in the Golden Guitar Awards with that song, so that was pretty good.
Oh, that's excellent. And talking about helping artists, maybe one day you'll be able to help me sing a couple of tunes.
I can do that, Jack, not a problem.
Getting along here, now over the years you've teamed up with a couple of local artists here in Bendigo to form the Three Divas.
We have, that's Florina Forbes and Anne Conway, and we have put on quite a lot of concerts featuring the three of us as fundraisers for various organisations. And it was a lovely little concept, yes. We'd get dressed up in all our wonderful clothes and come out and, just amaze the crowd. But it was really good.
And when did that first start?
Oh, now you're asking me a lot. Long time ago. A long time ago. Yes.
Now, something that the fans may not know is that you've been granted honorary life governmentship of the Royal Children's Hospital.
Yeah, that's right, Jack, and that goes back a long, long time. We fundraised, we haven't been doing it the last few years, but every Good Friday we would put on a day to raise money, and we've raised a lot of money over the years. I think, probably 33, 34 years plus we've been doing that. And yes, I was very honoured to have been made an honorary life member, and I've got the certificate and everything at home, so it's really nice. We don't do it, and I don't do it personally for the thanks. You do it because you want to help and give back,
That's right.
So that's what we do it for. Mm.
And in 1989 you were inducted into the Barham, is it?
Well, it's the South Australian, you're half right, it's the South Australian Country Music Awards,
Yep.
and it's held at Barmera in South Australia, and I went in 89, see Rocky Page is another man that I've worked with,
Yeah.
and it was his idea to start this way back in the 70s, this country music festival with a big talent quest, and he had a property just out of Barmera that was an old dairy farm, and it had this little dairy shed on it and an amphitheatre, which everyone on the Sunday would go out there and sing. And the people that used to go in the early days into the Avenue of Honour, we'd put our hand in the cement and we'd plant a beautiful gum tree. And then not too long after that, Rocky got sick and they brought everything into Barmera. Now there's a Hall of Fame in Barmera, and they brought all those hands of fame, dug them up, because it was in a guitar, cement guitar,
Okay.
and our hand went into that, and they brought them all in, and they're at the back of the Hall of Fame. So that was a wonderful thing, yes. So, and it's still going. Like every year, it's still going in Barmera.
Oh, okay.
So, but it is the South Australian Country Music Awards.
And the following year in 1990, the Hands of Fame in Tamworth.
Good years, eh? I never expected that to happen, you do your years and you do your time with the industry, and when they rang me and wrote me the letter to say I'd been selected for it, I think I had a little cry. But yes, my hand's in there at Tamworth, and that was really, really lovely.
And Olive, what would have been your very first award in country music?
Oh, now you're asking me something, aren't you?
I bet you it's not on that table there.
1977, I won the Best Yodeler
Yep.
and the Female Vocal in Portland in Victoria. I think that might have, because I was, even though I've got trophies here, I was never one to go into competition too much. Until the later years, when you start recording and people say, oh, you should put that in. Way back in the early days, I was happy to just go out and sing and entertain people and make them happy. But yes, Portland probably would have been the first thing major thing that I'd won, yes.
And can we talk about the awards that you have here?
Yes, you may. There is Victorian. I've never got a gold guitar yet. And I won't, but that's fine. But I've got female vocal a couple of times for the Victorian Country Music Awards. I've also won the Entertainer of the Year award for Victoria, and this one here with the Australian map is an industry award from the South Australian Country Music Awards, and I have got a Tex Morton Award from the Tamworth Songwriting Association, and I was the very first woman to receive the Tex Morton Award.
Congratulations.
Which was wonderful, yes. And then this one, the other one, is for that gospel song, Our Angels, which I won in 2011. So, yeah, I'm quite proud. I think there's another big one at home that I thought, no, I'm not going to bring that today. So I'm very proud of them, but they came out of a box today, and they probably will go back in the box for safekeeping again, you know. But we're quite proud of them, and it's just something that, you know, happens, yeah.
And Olive, are you still recording?
I am. I don't do it quite so much now, and I don't get out and work quite as much now. I do a little bit of charity work. But my last one was called Down Memory Lane, and it was just basically songs that people have asked over the years, could you sing this, could you sing this? So I thought, well, why not put those special songs onto an album, which I did, yeah. And inside cover, I should have brought you one today, but I didn't, Jack. I'll send you one. Inside cover's got some photos of me way back from the 60s on, when I was quite slim, trim, taut and terrific.
Oh, well, yeah, you should have. I could have got some close-ups.
I know. Well, I can get them to you.
Can you nominate just one thing that really sets it apart from anything else within your career?
Within my career. Now there's been so many. I think musically, there's been quite a lot actually, but I really think touring with Rick and Thal Carey would have to be the highlight of even though I've done a lot of other big things, to tour with Rick and Thal was just so wonderful, and she was a very sick lady at that time, and we got inspiration. I got from her, but she also from me, and I think, yes, it was just a wonderful thing to tour around. And I had my two little children, Richard and Andrea. Richard was 10 and Andrea was about 7, and they used to sing in the show as well, and Rick and Thal just thought they were wonderful, so that would be the highlight. And, you know, like being with Reg Poole, there's so many, but I think that would have been the highlight. And out of the country music, even though it probably helped me a lot, I was also a 1995 Bendigo Citizen of the Year.
Whoa.
Which, yeah, I didn't bring that today, but that was really, really wonderful too. So I've got the map of Australia and also the certificate. So that was 1995. Where have those years gone, Jack?
Exactly. Is there anything that you would like to say that we haven't mentioned that you would like to bring up?
Oh no, look, I just think I'd like to all the people that have been part of my life in the country music that have supported me, and there's so many, they get so dedicated to you, you know, you become part of their family. I'd just like to say thank you so much, because they've made my life a wonderful life.
Well, Olive, thank you very much for this interview.
It's been a pleasure, Jack.